Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy DKEN, and welcome to my incredible podcast. Now, before we commence this episode, do not forget to Hulk smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your boys and your families. Follow me on Instagram. Smash that bell notification button. And of course, as always, enjoy. Let's get started. Our top story for today shall be MGTOW, Dehumanizing Females. Now, this video was made by YouTuber Rachel Oates, who is from the UK, and she has her own YouTube channel where she talks about lots of things that fall under these categories, i.e. book reviews, social commentary, atheism, puppers, science fan, liberal feminist, pro-LGBTQ RXV UXY and Z, and animal lover. So I will give her 2 strikes for that, for the simple fact that she is a self-proclaimed liberal feminist and a pro-LGBTQ activist, if you will. For those of you that have been following me long enough, you would know my personal opinion towards people that lean towards the left. I think those people are the hemorrhoids of the United States, let alone the whole world. Well, anyways, let us dive right into Rachel's video of why she believes that MGTOW is dehumanizing females, okay? Let's hit it.
Hey everyone, today we are going to be making I'm going to be making a video. You guys aren't making the video, you're just watching the video.
Well, of course you're going to be watching a video bashing the MGTOW movement, but then again, I'm trying to be reasonable here. I understand that we're only a few seconds in, and this is not enough for me to critique her yet, okay? So let's hear what she has to say. Moving on.
I made the mistake of looking at the MGTOW tag on Tumblr, which is like men going their own way. It's like anti-feminism, but to the extreme.
Well, first of all, number 1, it is most certainly not anti-feminism because y'all feminists are teaching all females how to bash men and destroy the many lives of men in various levels such as marriages, relationships, workplaces, using the friend zone, and more. This motivated a group of men to forge the MGTOW movement because, as the first generation of MGTOW activists, these men got so fed up with toxic, narcissistic, and manipulative females to the point where these guys are passing down their teachings to these new generations of men. They're teaching us that we do not have to tolerate any female whatsoever anymore due to the toxic, man-bashing teachings of feminism. Along with that, and I will be making another episode about this, a new movement was created. This new movement is known as TikTOW, which stands for Teens Going Their Own Way. I became inspired by YouTuber Strong Successful Male to do a top story about this kind of topic because the tide is finally shifting towards the men's favor. We are starting to take the lead and the females are starting to take the L's. Anyway, let's try not to get sidetracked. Let's get back to Rachel's statement. She claims that MGTOW is anti-feminism to the extreme, which might be the most retarded statement I've ever heard a female produce. Because since y'all females and feminists, of course, want to bash men for things that are not even that big of a deal, like making room for his legs when sitting down at a train or bus, known as manspreading, or trying to get any of his points across, I believe you call that mansplaining. Okay, as men, we are moving out, and we will not be coming back. Now that I got that out of my chest, let's continue.
Because this is like men who think, you know, they don't need women and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we're not sexist, but stuff like that.
I do not know about any of you folks out there, but she completely butchered what MGTOW is and what it represents. Because, say it with me, folks, the feminists do not give 2 fucks about men. They're not about equality. Or should I say, modern feminism. is not about equality. They are all about smashing the patriarchy and gaining more power over men. Ladies and gents, I want all of you to pay attention to what I'm about to say next because this is important. Let's say any guy, regardless if he's a men's rights activist or your average Joe, comes out and says something along the lines of, let's destroy and tear apart the matriarchy in this country. How do you think the females, the feminists, and all of these other leftist morons will react to that? I'll give you 3 seconds. You know what? Scratch that. I'll just tell you up front. Everybody would lose their shit. Everybody that leans towards the left, they would lose their own humanities if some guy were to come up and say something like that. In addition to the people that lean towards the left, I believe that the legislature of these democratic states would literally jump in and crucify this guy. Even though we have the right to free speech, we live in a time where you could get canceled for something as small as saying, hey, let's destroy the matriarchy in the United States. Well, anyway, let's proceed with the main video.
And we're going to be having a look at this, having a little bit of a giggle about it, probably making some people angry, so sorry in advance for that.
Notice how she said we're going to have a little giggle about it, therefore she thinks that this is a laughing matter. I do believe that I said this in the past, but I will continue to say this. People in general, they don't care about your struggles. They don't care about what you're going through as a man. Almost everybody that you're going to meet, especially females, they will not take men's issues fucking seriously. With that said, it is your job to pick yourself up and deal with your issues in any way you see fit. Along with that, keep in mind, nobody said that we do not have the right to critique her in any way we see fit. When I say we, yes, I mean all of my fellow MGTOW and Red Pill brothers. Gentlemen, you have the right to voice your opinions in regards to this video. If I were any of you, stop living with no voice and instead come on out and voice your thoughts and opinions about this female. Feel free to express your brutal honesty in this video. Keep in mind, this is a liberal feminist that is living in the United Kingdoms. So, does this motivate you in any form, shape, or manner to do something about it? Because if so, you are more than welcome to come on in and rain down on her. Let's move on.
I do want this to be a lighthearted video, but I don't want to just make fun of these people.
Listen. What did she say just seconds ago? Roll the clip.
And we're going to be having a look at this, having a little bit of a giggle about it, probably making some people angry, so sorry in advance for that.
Folks, I don't know about any of you, but I have already seen this facade before. I've seen these circus acts before. She's just putting on a show just to get views and subscribers. That's it. She is not interested in men's issues. That's what modern feminism is all about. They are all about bashing men left and right, and they don't care about the conflicts and the struggles that we have to go through. Therefore, we're going to strike back. So folks, be careful with this female, because it's important to look at her actions rather than pay more attention to what she says. Let's move on.
I feel that, some of the things they come out with are so ridiculous that, you just have to make a joke out of it, otherwise it's terrifying, you know?
Again, you're shaming men because you were conditioned and taught by the feminazi movement to shame men, and up to this day, you think that shit is normal and to make fun of the members of the MGTOW movement. So with that said, I cannot wait to proceed beyond this point. Let's advance.
Modernity has shown us how women act when they get a license to behave any way they want. They cover their bodies in tattoos. They sleep with 1,000 chads. They date criminals and give birth to their children.
They sleep with thousands of chads. They date criminals and give birth to their children. That is all we need to kick a female to the streets. Or should I say, kick her to the curb, if you will. That is where she belongs. And at the end of the day, if she wants to be a fucking hoe, be a fucking hoe. It's not illegal, especially for females nowadays. There's no law that prevents that because females will always have it easy. Therefore, let her spread her legs to the Chads and the Brads and the Tyrones all the way to the day where she hits that big 3-0 and says this bullshit.
What happened? Where did all the men go?
If she wants to live the whole lifestyle, let her do it. But understand this, later down the road, she will face consequences, okay? Make no mistake on that. Gents, as long as you take care of yourselves, physically, mentally, spiritually, and so forth, we will win. I promise you that. We are just getting started. Let's continue.
They abort their babies. They drink alcohol like they are men. They wear skimpy clothing. And they smoke like chimneys.
Sounds like this guy got these things right. Like, keep in mind, these are just a few out of the numerous problems that modern females have nowadays. Now, let's hear what she has to say about this.
Well, as a woman with a license to do whatever I want, I don't actually do any of those things, but even if I did, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Folks, whenever a female claims that she doesn't do any of these things, she is straight up lying to your face. Like, do not believe her when she tells you this. Like, even the average looking young females will have several beta males chasing after her. That is just how human nature works. As long as your average looking female is young, meaning she's in her prime, she puts on a skirt or dress and heels, I promise you she will have tons of suitors chasing her like there's no tomorrow. Moving on.
How does it affect anyone else? How many people a woman sleeps with? Or how much alcohol she drinks?
Because it will give us more than just an idea. It will give us decent intel as to what kind of a female that we are dealing with. Is she an alcoholic? Did she have an alcoholic and abusive father? Was she raised with daddy issues? Like, these are questions that we need answers to. Simple as that. Moving on.
I just feel like adults should be allowed to do what they want, as long as they take responsibility for their own actions afterwards.
You know, it's funny that you should say that. I find that part of your argument to be quite astounding because y'all females, and yes, I'm referring to the 90% of y'all fucked up females in the US. Like, I don't know what this percentage would be in the UK. I've never lived in the UK, so my data shall be based in the US. So to the 90% of y'all females that fucked up a lot of good men, and you know who you are, since y'all are choosing to not take ownership of your fuck-ups, guess what? Nobody is going to come on in and clean up your mess. We'll just leave and never come back because we are tired of being treated like we do not matter at all. We're just tired of being treated like dog shit. Let's see what else this female narrator has to say.
If a woman wants to go around sleeping with 1,000 chads, that's absolutely fine.
Basically, what she really means is, if a female wants to kick the nice guy to the curb and sleep with a bunch of Chads and Brads and Tyrones, here's what's gonna happen when she does that. These females, or otherwise known as the fuck girls, they create the fuck boys in the first place by messing up their perception of love. That's messed up. These former nice guys, they transform into fuckboys, aka the Chads and the Brads and the Tyrones. They're being taught by these fuck girls that it's okay to pump and dump every single female that you see on the streets. So I want all of you to answer this one serious question and be completely honest. Do not bullshit yourselves and think about everything that I just said, okay? Whose fault is this? Do you think the fault goes to these fuckboys or the fuck girls who created the fuckboys in the first place? You can answer this question at any time you want. All I ask is keep this question in the front of your mind as we progress further in this video.
And if she does get pregnant, she acts responsibly about it. And, you know, she gets regular tests and uses condoms and whatever and doesn't mess with anyone's feelings. I don't see why it's an issue.
And that is how single mothers are made. Here's how this will play out. Let's create a hypothetical situation. Let's say a female goes out to a nightclub with her girlfriends. She meets her Chad. They hit it off well. Then she ditches her girlfriends to go back to his place. They get it on. And then several days later, after taking tests, She finds out that she's pregnant and that child belongs to Chad as well. He freaks out about it, leaves her, and she's on her own with his child. Now that's one situation out of several real life cases. Moving on.
I just feel like as long as people are being responsible for their own actions and accepting the consequences of them, I don't really see why it matters.
Actually, it does fucking matter, because y'all females must understand that if you want to live the whole lifestyle and sleep with the Chads and the Brads and the Tyrones while kicking the nice guys to the curb, karma will come back and bite you back in the ass when you are least expecting it. I promise you, one way or another, you have to learn that for every action, there's a reaction. So in this instance, you chose the bad boys over the nice guys. Well, guess what? Do not be surprised if one day you wake up and you take the test and find out that you're pregnant with Chad's child. And guess what's going to happen next? That Chad that you slept with, which the baby belongs to him as well, one or two things will happen. Either, one, it doesn't work out between you two and your Chad during the marriage or relationship. It will automatically result in a divorce. Or two, either you or him gets up and fucking leaves. It doesn't matter if you or him gets up and just take off. Either way, the newly made single mother is going to be alone with her child. So the next thing I'm going to say for the females is this. Gentlemen, you're safe as long as you protect your seeds. Females, if you're watching this, after everything that I have said so far, here's a serious question. You can answer this question at any time you want. Is it really worth it to sleep with a Chad and have a child with him? Why don't y'all females just sit there and think about that question to yourselves as we progress in this video? Let's move on.
The same blog released this miniature essay of a post that says, "Women are not adults." And again, this is where I think it all comes from. So much of this MGTOW stuff is about belittling women and treating them like children and being hey, well, we don't want you to do this because you're
We need to come to a grinding halt for a brief moment. That post that said women are not adults, it was not meant to be an insult. I am certain of that. What that guy meant to say was that females in general have a traditional tendency of acting like they're kids. Those females want to go around and sleep with 1,000 Chads. Guess what? If something happens to them, I will not have any fucking sympathy for these females. I don't care if they end up getting pregnant and it turns out that the child belongs to one of the Chads or Brads or Tyrones. I will not give 2 or 3 fucks if the child belongs to one of the Enriques or Julios or Hectors. I will not give a damn. I will also not care if she ends up getting assaulted or hit by a car or someone in her family dies. I will not care. If these females want to go around and mess around with the bad boys and take no ownership of their own faults, okay, I got 2 words for you. Good luck. Now that I got that out of my chest, let's proceed.
Adults take full responsibility for their negative actions. Women rarely do. Their first reaction is to deflect or blame someone else. I don't think that's the case.
I am going to continue to say this. I don't know how many times I have to say this, because this point that I'm going to make needs to get across ASAP. For all of y'all females that want to act like retards and sleep around with the bad boys, check this out. For those of you females that are in your 20s, you may be in your prime. However, when you reach that big 3-0, you will eventually say this bullshit when you're in your 30s.
What happened? Where did all the men go?
Now, do all of the men out here a favor. Do not go to any of us and bitch and complain and cry to us saying that I hate men. Men are trash. Men ain't shit. All men are misogynistic. How dare these bad boys use me like I'm a piece of meat? First of all, you chose to get degraded. You chose to put up with a lot of toxic shit from the bad boys because y'all love drama. Y'all love being degraded. Therefore, we will enjoy treating the next generation of females like absolute dogs. Because y'all females must learn their place. Their place is underneath real men. And these females will have no choice but to enjoy it. Remember, females, you chose to spread your hoe ass legs for the bad boys, and you saw it coming. So do not take it out on the men that did not do shit to you. Let's continue.
Adults are able to manage their lives without external supervision. How many women do you know that can make sound decisions regarding finances? Few of them have the self-discipline to save money. Well, me for one, my sister for another, all of my female friends for like 5 more.
I find that to be very suspicious. So this female, I don't know, but if she says so, okay, I'll let it slide. Her sister, I don't know, but her friends?
Nope.
I don't fucking think so. I think she is straight up lying to her audience. I'm just saying, moving on.
Women are terrible at making decisions because they think with their hearts and are full of fear and insecurity. Well, I disagree with this. Yes, certain studies have shown that men tend to lead a little bit more towards the rational and women tend to lean a little bit more towards the emotional.
So here's the thing. What she really means is, yes, the studies show that men tend to be logic and reason driven and females tend to make decisions based upon emotions. Yes, the studies are correct, but I'm not going to agree with them. This is the typical feminist perspective. They choose to disregard statistics because the truth is ugly. The truth is a nasty pill to swallow. Now, for these feminists, one way or another, they will have no choice but to swallow that pill and accept the situation as it is. Not better than it is, not worse than it is, but as it is. Folks, I need all of you to heed my warning. Do not succumb to the feminist movement. You will lose. As for this female that chose to disregard the facts, I am not surprised that she received more backlashes and dislikes rather than likes because of the simple fact that she failed to understand why MGTOW was formed. And check this out, folks. On her description box, you can see that she typed the following words. She said, and I quote, these MGTOW/incel/WGTOW/radfem posts on Tumblr remind me why we need feminism/egalitarianism, or however you pronounce that word. Why can't people just be treated like people?
Nope.
What happened? Where did all the men go? What happened? Where did all the...
Can y'all see how delusional this female is? She had the nuts to sit there and say that she disagrees with the studies that prove that men are logic and reason driven. Like, females are emotional human beings. Then she said that these MGTOW/incel/WGTOW/radfem posts on Tumblr remind me why we need feminism. Like, I need to make this one thing perfectly clear. There is no such movement as WGTOW. There's no such thing as females going their own way or women going their own way. I do not fucking care what Google says. Just because the MGTOW movement was formed does not give these females the logically and reasonably, let alone the emotional right to form this imaginary movement known as WGTOW. You can't just put the W for women or females and replace it with the fucking letter M and pretend that it has some meaning. It doesn't! Now that I got a lot of that shit off of my chest, let's continue.
Women's natural role is one of subordination. She is a follower, a dependent. She has no business being in any position of authority over men. The mere idea is offensive.
Exactly, because I shall whoop her ass as soon as a female tries to control me. Like, females in general must be put in their place, and they must know their place and enjoy being in a subservient position below powerful men. If a female tries to get above me with some kind of authority, I will find a way to discipline her and put her in her rightful place, and she will enjoy it. How does this female narrator respond?
No.
Yes, it is indeed merely offensive.
That statement is offensive.
The words that are still coming out of your mouth makes you look like a retard, and I would have no problem putting a liberal feminist like yourself in your place, because you need to learn that you have no power over men. Simple as that. Let's continue.
Western society operates on this absurd notion that women are equal to men, because they are.
Nope, that is absolutely incorrect. Females are not equal to men. Please continue.
And this is why we have lost our way. If you view women as your equal, you will inevitably become frustrated with their inability to live up to that designation.
I do not know who wrote that post, but that guy got it right on the mark. Here's why. Think of it this way, and I know I said this before. Gentlemen, listen up. Females are not expected to meet anyone's expectations. However, society holds us men to the highest level of standards and expectations. Females were never taught how to treat men well, but these Disney films and TV shows and soap operas were designed to teach you that you have to put females on pedestals and treat them like fucking celebrities. You do any of this bullshit in real life, she will stick you in the friend zone with the bad case of blue balls. Folks, keep all of that in mind as we progress further in this video.
Let's view and treat women based on what they are, not what gender idealism tells us they should be. And if we get to rebuild this civilization, it is paramount that they are not allowed to vote ever again. Because that worked out so well in the past, didn't it?
Here's the thing. Females tend to vote for their candidates based on their emotions, but men are taught how to make logical and reasonably sound decisions and pick the right candidates for the most part. Moving on to the next post.
Why would any man want to settle down with a woman who wasn't a virgin? Even if she had just one boyfriend, she still had sex with him dozens of times. It's still second-hand. Modernity is disgusting and I want no part of it. Well, don't worry, because even us second-hand women wouldn't want to touch you.
Do all of us a favor. When you're in your 30s, do not come to us and cry about where did all of the good men go.
What happened? Where did all the men go?
I promise you, you do that, I will laugh at you and berate you in front of everyone. I don't care if we are in a public setting. I don't care if I meet you at a Starbucks or at a bar. I'll just take my chances of humiliating you and take great pleasure in doing that. And to the female that made this video, don't worry, because a real masculine man would not even look at you, let alone waste his time, money, and effort in dating you. He'll just look the other way. Moving on.
If you're worried about a woman's sexual past, I think that says more about your insecurities than it does anything about her.
Now, some of you may have heard a female say this phrase, if you're insecure, just say that. Like, some of you may have heard a female say this bullshit when you're trying to get a point across. That's a big pile of dog shit, and here's why. A female's past is the metaphorical equivalent of skeletons in her closet. Her past will tell you a lot, if not most, or even if not everything about this female. Like I said before, you want to know exactly who you're dealing with. If you're out on a date with a female, you want to know at least a few things about her. Simple as that. Keep all of that in mind as we progress in this feminazi video.
Seriously, if a woman's with you now, she's with you now. That's her decision. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past.
This is what happens when y'all females want to adopt feminism bullshit into your fat ass lifestyles. Like, folks, I want all of you to listen carefully. I have learned this when I was in the service. Everything that you do, everything that you say, every action that you take into account, it will reflect on what kind of a person you really are. Essentially, what that means is you will be remembered primarily on your bad deeds rather than your good deeds. This was a harsh and cold lesson that I had to learn by myself. So with that said, I want all of you, that means both the men and the females that are listening to this, I want each and every single one of you to take this advice with you and use it. Here's how you apply it in this situation. Do not be like this fucking female who chooses to give too much leeway to the females. Like, keep this in mind. What happened in her past will tell us what kind of a female that we're dealing with. Let's continue.
One of the things I found on this hashtag was like that the MGTOW guys really don't like being called incels. They make it kind of like very known that they could have women if they want to, but they choose not to.
Let's take several steps back and recap what she just said one by one. MGTOW is not the same thing as incels. MGTOW guys, they've been screwed over by females, whether if it was during a casual dating situation, relationship, or marriage that ended in divorce. At least those guys tried their damn best to get back up and heal their own wounds. It's similar to what the red pill teaches. But the movement known as the Incels, those guys do not heal. They choose to sit in the darkest corners of their own studio apartments. They never come out to get sunlight. They sit at their desks with their laptops and they joke about murdering females. Like, does that seem clear to you? MGTOW does not equal incels. This feminazi bitch is so retarded in the fucking mind that she doesn't even care, let alone see and notice the differences between the MGTOW movement and the incels. MGTOW is about men going their own way because females in general, they will never appreciate anything that we do and what we can bring to the table. Therefore, we are moving out, we'll get our own places, and we want nothing to do with females, especially the new generation, the Gen Z females, who are just stuck up, extremely entitled. Their standards and expectations are physically and mentally impossible to meet. They bring nothing but drama and all sorts of baggage to the table. They don't want to cook or clean. They don't want to cooperate. So be it. As real, strong, and masculine men, we will not tolerate any of their bullshit ever again. Incels, however, they joke about murdering females, and I'm putting that word joke in quotes, okay? Those guys, they do not have any desire to grow or to build something, like an online business or some shit. They have no goals they want to pursue. They have no ambitions to do something, like anything. I'm going to put a source down below on the description box. The video is called "This is What the Life of an Incel Looks Like," HBO. I want all of you to watch this video, and I want all of you to answer this question very carefully, because apparently MGTOW is the same type of movement as incels, according to this feminist cunt over here. Here's the question. Is MGTOW the same thing as incels? Yes or no? You can answer this question anytime you want. Feel free to type your answers down on the comment section below this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me, but I have to stop this video right now because I have reached my maximum limit. So, consider this the conclusion of this episode of MGTOW Dehumanizing Females. As far as the subject goes, it's these feminists that love to point their fingers at us men and say that it's our fault that we're going our own way. Like, it's about high time that we re-educate these females, especially these leftist morons, and show them that MGTOW and incels do not mean the same thing, okay? Keep that in mind. So, with all of that said, this concludes this episode of my incredible podcast. So thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to Hulk smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Share this with your boys and your families. Follow me on Instagram. Smash that bell notification button. And every single one of you, have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace out.